Hello.
Hey.
And an extra hello from Higgins, who is here.
Hey, Higgins.
Quick programming notes. My AC is acting up, so I am in a room with a portable unit. I'm going to try my best to do some noise reduction on the recording to get rid of that. But if you hear any ambient humming, that is the machine. And if you hear any purring, that's Higgins. Because Higgins likes to lay directly on your chest like a horrible, weighty scarf.
If you're a lucky listener, one of these two things is an ASMR thing for you, so.
You're like, I'm so into it.
Yeah.
Speaking of sounds, that's what we're going to be dealing with today. We're going to talk about Boots Riley and the Coup.
Heck yeah. Let's get into it so we don't run out of time. We're going to kind of cover this like last time with doing kind of a biography bit and then getting into the tunes themselves.
All right, cool. Well, I was in charge of biography bit. I let you have the fun half this time. So, let's get into it. Boots Riley. He is a director, producer, screenwriter, rapper, and a communist activist. Quite the resume.
Yeah, I really like the last one there.
I think you're really going to like some of his bona fides.
What'd he do?
So he's most well known for the movie Sorry to Bother You, covered on this very show, and also his music with the Coup and Street Sweeper Social Club. But he really is like, I would say, an activist and communist through and through, even going back to his roots.
All right, what was he doing in these early years to prove himself to be an activist?
Well, he comes from a very leftist background. So his father, Walter Riley, was born to tenant farmers in North Carolina, and he got involved in Durham's NAACP and the Congress of Racial Equality. He organized sit-ins, voter registration drives, and more. His father moved to San Francisco in 1965 and continued working with the Congress of Racial Equality, as well as Danny Glover. Yes, that Danny Glover, who was a classmate at San Francisco State College, and they were just like activists together there.
Yeah, Danny Glover, he's a comrade as well.
Yeah, I love it. In 1968, his dad was organizing city bus drivers, anti-eviction protests, and also worked with the Peace and Freedom Party. As far as his mother goes, her name was Anitra Patterson. His grandmother, so Anitra's mother, was Jewish and fled the Nazis and arrived in the States in 1938. So, he has kind of a Jewish background there. But his mother studied at San Francisco State College until she met Walter, and they moved to Chicago in 1970 to continue organizing. And that's where Boots was born. He was born Ray Riley. Hard to say.
Ray Riley.
Ray Riley. Born in Chicago, April 1st, 1971. Another Aries. And his nickname, in case you were wondering, came from wearing boots. Like, he wore, some boots on a, class field trip. And people were like, that's Boots.
Oh, there's old Boots with his boots again.
Boots. I mean, that's a pretty sweet nickname.
As far as nicknames go, there are worse nicknames.
So they moved to Detroit, where Walter was an activist in the United Auto Workers, and he even, fought the Klan a couple of times. In 1979, his parents divorced, and Walter moved back to the Bay Area to study law. He later became a social justice attorney, representing Black Lives Matter activists, and also led groups like the Haiti Emergency Relief Fund and the National Lawyers Guild. Meanwhile, Riley started getting interested in the arts through his grandmother, who ran the Oakland Ensemble Theater. So that's kind of where he got some of his interest in the stage. But, dude, he started off really fucking early with activism. I'm damn, what the fuck have I been doing? Because at age 14, he started helping organize with the Anti-Racist Farm Workers Union, which basically was a group that was formed because they were refused help from the United Farm Workers, because they were, undocumented immigrants. And so Riley was involved really early. He was helping decorate their flatbed truck for parades and rallies and stuff. He was making signs. He was like setting up sound systems. And like, there's an interview where he was like, yeah, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, but I just did it. Like, the way he described it was like, a van showed up to my house with some like cute girls, and they're like, you want to go to the beach? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, all right, cool. Well, first we're going to like decorate this truck for a thing, and then we'll go to the beach. Like, all right, that's our new strat. We're just going to get a bunch of hot girls.
Yeah.
Drive around
hot girls, hot guys, hot people.
Yes.
We just need hot communists, and that's how we're going to get people to do things, I guess.
Hot communists, we have a day of action, and then we go to Six Flags.
Sounds, I mean, yeah, I could see it working.
Let's see. When his high school was facing some cutbacks, Oakland High School, he and his friends organized a walkout, and 2,000 out of the 2,200 students walked out. So, like, everybody was on board.
Man, I would not like to be one of the 200 that stayed.
Fucking nerds.
I mean, I get it. Some of, if you had, like, literally impairments that prevented you from taking part.
I guess that's
like,
true.
Other than that, you kind of
You're
suck.
like a teacher's kid, that would probably suck.
Yeah.
By the time he was 15, he had joined both the Progressive Labor Party, which was like an explicitly Marxist-Leninist organization.
Yeah, I mean, they're still around.
Nice. And the International Committee Against Racism. So, like, this is all as a fucking teenager.
It's more than I was doing.
I didn't even know, like, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing at that age. My political takes were garbage, so.
Yeah, this is impressive to be on it so early.
Yeah. All right, so he starts off as a UPS loader, like loading up planes, basically, and starts hanging out with one of his coworkers, and they decide to start a band. So they start the Coup in 1991 with a guy named E-Rock, who was his coworker, and then also rappers Spice One and Mopreme Shakur, and then later they added DJ Pam the Funkstress, which is a fantastic name.
Yeah.
But Riley was kind of the head of the group, chief lyric writer and music producer. He also, like the same year, founded something called the Mau Mau Rhythm Collective, which put on hip-hop edutainment concerts. And basically were doing organizing through music. Like they were doing community projects. Like they worked with the Black Panther Alumni Association, Cop Watch, and like protested against like police brutality. It was really cool.
That was like a kind of blend of things going on.
So yeah, basically he used this collective to help organize young people. At one point in 1996, they led a rally called Take Back the Lake against this like anti-cruising ordinance that was like clearly targeting Black people. And like this group of young people stormed a private city council meeting and turned it into a public meeting.
Whoa. So they just like took it over.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. And like, it's just interesting how he uses, I mean, just like organizing in general, but also particularly music and organizing to like get people interested. Like he led a workshop on art and organizing, and they like traveled on this flatbed truck to like protest Proposition 21, which would increase penalties for youth offenders in Oakland. And they just like traveled around doing concerts for people and also talking about the issues. So pretty cool.
Well, that's a powerful recruiter. As Emma Goldman said, if you can't dance in your revolution, you don't want to be a part of it.
That's true. We got to be hot. We got to dance. Checklists.
Yeah. You don't have to be hot, but
you just have to know hot people.
Yeah, or they have to be involved.
Okay, gotcha. All right, let's go through a couple more cool activist shit, and then we'll get to the rest of his resume. But I mean, this part of the resume is pretty awesome. So, in '94, he co-founded the Young Comrades, which is like a very militant leftist group, so that's cool. 98, he helped found the Black Radical Congress. In 2002, he taught a high school class entitled Culture and Resistance, Persuasive Lyric Writing, and this was at the School of Social Justice and Community Development in Oakland. So, like, what a fucking cool class.
Yeah, I would much rather take that than macroeconomics.
For real. More useful. So, yeah, I mean, like, he is just has such a rich background in this. And like I was reading this New York Times article where they were interviewing him in Oakland, and they're like, dude, walking anywhere with this guy takes forever because everybody knows him there, and they all like stop and chat with him. And there was like a lady who had like a theater show going on in her salon and shit, and he just like knows everybody and is involved deeply with his community, which I just thought was really cool.
That is wild. I mean, it's great that he, I don't know, has made these connections, it's just impressive. Like back in the day, if you had put this stuff together, and maybe back in the day they were more worried, or they thought it was more of a threat. But I mean, like, you know, Fred Hampton was this popular and shit, and look what happened to him. Yeah,
it is impressive. Just the amount of organizations he either founded or it was involved in. And he seems to like still be in it. And I don't know like how much on the ground stuff he's doing these days, but like in terms of his politics and stuff, I mean, like he's, you know, was participating in the Occupy movement in like 2011. You know, he's like very open about like how he feels about things. Like he describes himself as a communist, which is hard to find in the States.
Yeah, that's true. He's not like doing Vanguard Revolutionary Party stuff of like really doing illegal
yeah
you know, plotting or anything. But still, this is a lot to us, you know, from our point of view. And it's a lot more than anyone that you hear online talking about stuff. Most of us are not doing this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, being this active.
Yeah. Okay, so let's kind of backtrack to some of his projects. Let's start with the music, because we're going to be listening to that later. So one album that particularly stands out is the album Party Music, set to release in like September of 2001. And it featured the group standing in front of the Twin Towers as they exploded.
Yeah, and they're like at the bottom, like pushing a button or something.
Yes. Well, what's funny is the photo was taken in May of that year, so like complete and fucking total coincidence. But they had to delay the release because they're like, "Oh, this does look like we knew about this."
Yeah, or we're making fun of it now or something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the controversy did continue because, I mean, Riley, being Riley, spoke up about the 9/11 attacks and said, like, let's see, quote, "Last week's events were symptomatic of a larger backlash against U.S. corporate imperialism," which, like, yes, they were.
They were. They were still bad, but they were.
Yeah. Other music highlights in 2003, Boots Riley started collaborating with Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine, and also Audioslave, which I didn't know. They started the Tell Us the Truth tour, which was supposed to kind of point towards media monopolies, and also protested like trade issues about the free trade area of the Americas. They also started a group together called the Street Sweeper Social Club. And then in 2008, on a tour with the band Galactic, police actually interrupted the concert to charge Boots with abusive language, which like is extremely rare to do that during a live performance.
At a concert?
Yeah.
Was he like doing it in front of an elementary school or something? Or a church?
It's just a regular ass show.
That's so wild.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm super curious to hear some music, see how abusive it is. He also has a film career, as you know. He studied film at San Francisco State University, and we've already talked about this a little bit in our episode, but Sorry to Bother You was based on his time working as a telemarketer. Some other kind of nuggets from that movie: he actually tossed a soda can at the heads of police officers during his time at college. The officers in question were protecting neo-Nazis who were demonstrating in Union Square. Because, of course, they were.
Yeah.
The soda can bit made it into the movie.
That was a funny part.
That was really good. So yeah, I read a few interviews with him that came out like around the time the movie came out, and you know, one of his points was like, "Hey man, everyone's seeing this as a very relevant movie for the Trump era, but like I wrote this during the Obama years, and like nothing fucking changed, basically. You know, like this applies too." So I thought that was nice.
Yeah, like, and you get that from the music too. Is he's not saying, "Oh, we can solve this with
Vote
one
blue.
party or the other. Yeah.
Yeah. During his acceptance speech at the Independent Spirit Awards, his speech got cut off because he was criticizing U.S. involvement in the Venezuelan presidential crisis. So, not a super independent spirit there.
Where they were trying to do the coup? Is that what he was? Remember
Yes.
the Venezuelan coup or whatever that they were trying to?
I think so, yeah. I think that's what it was in reference to.
And they shut him down for that.
Yeah, they're like, oh, sorry.
Like you said, not that free.
And I'm excited about this. He is working on a TV series, and it's called I'm a Virgo, and I cannot wait to learn more. I'm very interested.
Sure, it might be good.
Yeah, but overall, I mean, like, he just seems like a really cool dude, and, like, in one of the interviews I was reading, he stated his goal as, to, quote, help build a mass movement that can use withholding of labor as a strategy for social change, end quote.
Yeah.
Pretty good. I don't know, like, I also, because I was reading a lot of interviews that were around the same time as Sorry to Bother You, it was a good revisiting of that film and its motifs and stuff, and, like, I particularly liked kind of his view on the Tessa Thompson character, like the artist girl. And he's like, yeah, I mean, like, in a way, that's kind of a critique of my earlier work of, you know, only trying to do art as a way to make change and, like, showing that, yeah, you can, but it's not always going to work.
So he would characterize his earlier output as more direct than his later output?
Earlier work being the activist stuff or the music stuff?
I was thinking like music. Is he reading some progression into his music that's like, before I was trying to say, hey, let's make change, and then later I didn't do that as much? Or
I think so. Like, I think I read something about him saying, like, yeah, my earlier work was very, like, blatant and very, like, it's like reading, like, a pamphlet almost.
Yeah.
So I think he, like, kind of used that character to explore, like, how can you affect change with art, and is that worth doing, or what? So.
All right. So with that, let's jump into the discography of The Coup. We're going to start back with their debut studio album, Kill My Landlord.
Great title. I'm already in.
Excellent. We're on board. And I want to start with the title track, Dig It. And when you were saying that he's very direct and it's like a pamphlet, he's very direct.
It's like a pamphlet.
So let's do it.
Presto, read the Communist Manifesto, gorillas in the midst of Guevara and Emanesto. So, what a brother with an afro now. Yo, go a flow for the Mac, and we the hoes so grow, cause the Lucian brothers might get hung. Rhetoric flowing from the tip of my mouth, say tongue deficit. Money spit, catch the glint. Oh my nine, as they cut welfare, 25%. And I dissent as I clench and raise my fist. We did away with that. So you can get with this. It's a twist, cause we'll overthrow like Kwame and Nkrumah. Spread around the world as if it were a business rumor. Bam, cuts a record like a surgeon cuts a tumor from a brain. We're all cooped up, so feel the pain. From 400 years of exploitation, anesthesia provided by your local TV station. Patience is not a virtue. I ain't waiting. Turning shit over like Bush did a boatload of hate. Dig it, dig it, dig it, dig it, dig it, dig it, dig it. In a dog pound like A-Trap Brown with the situation. Won't get no calluses, cause we're spitting dialectical analysis. So how is this? We never had no funk until you found out that our trunks are revolutionary, huh? Chump, bump you over like dominoes, rat. So free Geronimo, Jack a prank. Lyrics, hear it, can't get near it. Got a sample, didn't clear it. Point blank says, fuck 5-0, that's the spirit. Cheer it. Spat out the fat that I consumed, knew that I was doomed since my date of birth to be the wretched of the earth. Never had a dream that was American. They go to Lake Cherokee, disparaging, but that ain't nothing new. Told the streets will pay, but go whoever paved that shit got minimum wage too.
That was fucking fire, first off.
Yeah. So this is from 1993, as you can tell from
a great year to be alive.
Yeah, so very old school.
I love it.
in style. But yeah, he starts out strong. I mean, the fourth word is the fourth phrase there is Communist Manifesto. So
yeah, I mean, if you can use dialectics, like the word dialectic in your rap, that's very impressive.
Yeah, no, the whole thing, he's name dropping.
COINTELPRO, loved that.
Ernesto Guevara, Mao Zedong, Kwame Nkrumah. Yeah, no, I mean, it's dope. Also apt for this week because
Columbus.
This past Monday, yeah. Good old Columbus got a shout out in this one, which I love.
The only shout out that is appropriate, which is fuck Columbus.
Yeah, we should also take a moment to say fuck Columbus.
Absolutely. And a very fuck Columbus to you too. Okay, so it's really good, I gotta say. Like, I had a moment where I forgot we were doing a podcast and I was just fucking jamming. And I was like, fuck, I need to like pull up the lyrics so I can pay attention.
Right? It's that's a good one.
Into it. It's gonna be hard to pick a segment to cut for the show. So, as usual, we will be providing a Spotify playlist link for this stuff, so you can listen to all of it. We're just gonna cut a small bit for the pod.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Cool. Well, I didn't know all those names. Who are all those people?
Who are all those people? All right. Which people?
Ernesto Guevara? Who's that?
That's Che.
Oh, fuck. I forgot that was his name. Sorry.
That's fine. He usually goes by Che, so.
I know. Kwame Nkrumah?
Yeah, Kwame Nkrumah. He was president of Ghana. He was like a revolutionary, though. So he was like Pan-African, sort of in the same vein of Julius Nyerere. And he tried to do a lot of development and everything for his country before he was deposed, so that they could send in the IMF and everybody else to raid the place.
So the normal story.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Great.
But he was cool.
Awesome. Okay. Maybe a future episode topic.
Definitely, he's in the running.
Okay, I was just too young at the time. What's with Bush and the Haitians? I laughed at that. But...
Well, you were 0 years old, so, I mean, it's fine.
So, yes, very young.
I was not old enough to know either, but this was the Haitian refugee crisis. So Haiti had a series of dictators that we had backed.
What? We backed dictators, but we love freedom.
It was an honest mistake, just paperwork, just filled out the wrong file and boom, we were backing a dictator. But then this guy came in, Aristide, who was a liberation theologist priest and was like kind of doing like social democratic stuff and reforms and all this. And they didn't like him. And
of course,
the U.S. kind of, it depends on who you ask, but like it does look like they basically support the coup people in that, in overthrowing him. But then after they're like, oh, no, you got to reinstate the guy. Anyway, when that happens, there's all these refugees pouring out of Haiti because everything's going terribly there. And Bush's policy was very strict on these guys. And he was like, send the Coast Guard in, interdict these ships, send them back to Haiti. And it was just very, the U.S. military just like bearing down on these rafts of people.
Fuck. Okay. Who's this Geronimo person?
This is Geronimo Pratt.
Yes.
So they say Geronimo G. Jaga Pratt. He was a member of the Black Panther Party.
Oh, okay.
Who was targeted by COINTELPRO.
Of course he was.
Shout out in the song. He was tried and convicted in 1972 for murder and served 27 years in prison, 8 of which were in solitary.
Jesus.
For American listeners, you don't often get the translation of that. We just, news places and stuff will just tell you so-and-so was in solitary confinement. This just means that he was tortured for 8 years because that's what that is.
Essentially, yeah, that is what that is.
He was freed when his conviction was vacated because the prosecution concealed evidence that proved his innocence.
Fuck.
Yeah. And then afterward, he continued to be a human rights activist. But when they're wrapping here, that is while he's still in prison.
Gotcha.
They say in one of the lines, like A-Trap Brown with the situation. A-Trap Brown being a civil rights activist who was at one point the chairman of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee and was also Minister of Justice for like an alliance between SNCC and the Black Panther Party.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So overall, I love this song as a fiery opening to their musical output.
I mean, yeah, this is explicitly communist. That's fucking amazing.
All right, next song. Next song's called Not Yet Free.
In this land I can't stand or sit and not get shit thrown up in my face. My brother never gets his props. I'm doing belly flops at the Department of Waste. And every day I pose a front so nobody pulls my card. I got a mirror in my pocket and I practice looking hard. I'm looking behind me, beside me, ahead of me. There'll be no feet making tracks here instead of me. But I can't disregard just what the news says to me. I'm 21, so I've reached my life expectancy. At any minute I could be in some shit that kills my skinny ass. From motherfuckers doing the sellout straight up, probably Oakland test. My relationship with OPD has been like one big diss long on the law. Grips my dick so tight it's hard to even piss. So I forgot ain't even got a pot to do it in. Up at the church they're telling me it's because I live in sin. So I grin, but nevertheless my mind won't dwell. I must be tripping cause I thought I was living in hell. Capitalism is like a spider, the web is getting tighter. I'm struggling like a fighter, just to bust loose is like a noose. Asphyxiation sets in, just when I think I'm free it seems to be the spider steps in. This web is made of money, made of greed, made of me, or what I have become in a parasite economy. In the winter there's a splinter with the smell of the...
Where to start?
Where to start? There's a lot here. This is one of those where I'm like, I can't believe they like let this go out. I mean, they're in a good way, I guess.
Yeah, so we probably won't sample that part of it, but it ends with them calling out various political leaders, police forces, and, you know, gunshot
gun noises.
audio.
Yeah. Interesting. I think what's interesting about this song is that it addresses both the system and its effects, not just like in a... To me, this is like the boot is wet, because it talks about how the system of capitalism affects the community and turns them into people just fighting for survival.
Yeah, and then that's then weaponized by the system, by capitalism and the media and everyone. Turns that around and says, well, this is what this group of people or this area of the town, this is what they're like. You know, this is what poor people are like, is they have all these bad qualities about them. When it's like, actually, we're just struggling to, like, live.
Definitely.
But I agree, capitalism is like a spider. It is like this noose setting in. It's constantly finding new ways to make our lives worse.
Yeah, not great. Okay. Anything else for that one?
Well, I like the section in verse 2 when he's talking about, you know, his character is thinking of like, how can I make a big move, right? Get a big score and get out of this. And then it like shifts and he's like, wait, we got a lot of people like me. And he says, it's, you know, the system currently is you've got all these poor people getting screwed over for the few rich and evil. But
it's illegal to wonder how they live in fat.
It's illegal to change that and to say, okay, well, what if we get together and get them, right? Everybody get a get is what he's saying is like, let's all get together and get these guys.
Yeah. I mean, I like how he even puts it like it's illegal to even wonder. And that is certainly true in a lot of ways.
And that's what he talks about kind of in verse 3 when he was saying like, even when I was a kid, you know, I'd root for the snipers, and my teacher said that that's bad, you know, and that's what you get is in normal education. That's what you are taught is like, well, America, they're the good guys.
And I mean, yeah, you're right about their call-outs are both Democratic and Republican here. We got Bill Clinton, we got Al Gore, we got Bush.
Ross Perot even wasn't even on either ticket.
What am I doing here? Who's Pete Wilson?
Former governor of California.
Ah, that'll do it.
That'll put you on the list. Did he do anything particular? I mean, I'm sure he did particularly bad things. I'm sure he did
bad things. It's hard to be a governor and not do bad things.
Yeah. All right. So that one's not yet free.
Good one.
And the final one on my list from this album is The Coup.
Hello,
Yes, I would like to speak to Boots from the rap group The Coup.
it's the Coup, and this is Boots. Speak.
Well, my name is Dick Doolittle. I'm a reporter from Grime Magazine, and we'd like to comment on the tragic riot.
Not a riot, it's a rebellion.
Well, the tragic rebellion?
Man, tragic for who?
Well, there's havoc in the streets. The police have lost control over the people. Criminals are running free from jail. People are actually taking property from big businesses. It's complete chaos.
That's not chaos, that's progress.
Okay. Is that your comment?
No, this is it. Check it out. It's the motherfucking seal you. To the P, now you're fucking with the real dudes. Who will meet you with a fleet of brothers in the street. Getting drunk of liberation, fuck the Hennessy. Cause your clown that kept us down for far too long. Now you're going up in smoke like Cheech and Chong. And the song ain't the nigga, is the Constitution. Niggas die, but Africans make revolution. So what happens when a people do not get their dues? Well, let's try it, there's a rise, so flip on the news. And let's go east to 98 years in no town. But let's just say for story's sake that it's in your town. 100 brothers taking factories, one was Lord's Cutters. And now they're handing out free chicken and free peanut butter. Free food to the people, how it should be. But now let's go a few blocks over to 7-3. Channel 2 says at the mall, 12 cops got shot. Cause there's 800 sisters taking over Eastmont. With 9s and AKs doing the right thing like Spike Lee. And now they babies got free Pampers and free Nikes. Up at the schoolhouse they said motherfucker hall pass. Until you teach a true check it, we ain't going to class. You're teaching lies, we got wise, now we realize there's no end to this road, you disguise the prize. So peep game, for real mental penetration. Our education's liberation.
Earthquaking foundation, shaking virus, breaking nudity, making change. Accumulating, liberating, educating, stimulating change.
In 6ix9ine, there's a rally and it's ringing. Through the crowd with 1,000 voices singing. Once upon a time in the projects, yo. Motherfuckers took over and now we running the show. We don't give a damn about Section 8 though. For what we really need, we're gonna have to take more. The same thing was heard in the Acorns, in Campbell Village, across the bay in Fillmore, and in the hills where all the rich folks live. They're in shock when I failed to vote and build. Instead of brothers on stage singing do me, a black man has a gauge singing do this. See, all of a sudden everybody is out of jail. But it's funny cause nobody is out on bail. And somebody shoved some police against the wall. I guess that day they should've won their clean draws. Cause the ambulance came, that's the reality. There's now a new meaning to police brutality.
All we need is satisfaction. We want more than just a fraction. And we've come to the conclusion. Revolution is the solution.
Now the Uzis that were once used to kill each other are now used to serve and protect the brothers and the sisters, cause they're packing 45s and 9s. We're down for revolution, not just down for they behinds. Cause the word is heard across the bay and in LA. In New York, Chicago, and Atlanta, GA. We gives a fuck if you got money in the millions. Cause motherfucker, we got posse in the billions. So break yourself, Bush, it's collection day. Break yourself, Trump, it's collection day. Break yourself, DuPont, it's collection day. You stole the shit from my great granddaddy anyway. The liquor store's around, but they're not selling Bill Ale. Motherfuckers selling Molotov cocktails to the crew, so light up a brew. And this is what is meant by a goddamn coup.
Holy shit.
Hell yeah.
That's incredible.
It's just a direct call for direct action revolution.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I love the very beginning. Starts with like let's be real, clearly white reporter asking for a comment. Example of the white voice used in Sorry to Bother You.
Yeah. Dick Doolittle.
Yeah. And, I mean, it's crazy that this was 93? And they're talking about the same things that are happening today of like, the same characterization of protests as, oh, this is just violence and, out of control and they're stealing from businesses, that kind of thing. And, he just lays it down. It's great.
I like how he extends that to like a cross sort of society here in that, in the streets and redistributing and everything, but also in the schools, in the schools saying like, hey, we're getting lied to. we have to change this too, and that there's a role. Because, I mean, he understands that. He played a role in that, and like you said, in his life did that, like walkouts and stuff. That should be one of the fronts.
I mean, I'm very impressed with this because, like, it both doesn't shy away from, like, the violence needed in this kind of revolution. I mean, there's a lot of it happening, a lot of gun talk, but there's also, he talks about things like giving food to kids and, like, you know, I mean, just taking care of the community.
Mm-hmm. Housing, food, prison abolition.
Taking over factories.
Yeah.
Like, this is the fucking revolution. Like, guys, we got the plan. Don't worry, the work's been done. We just have to do this.
Right. Well, and that's one of the critiques I think that someone of my more persuasion would level is, this is really cool. This is good. Like, I want this to happen. The question is, how do you get to that point? You know?
Yeah.
Because this is essentially general strike, anarcho-communism, seize it all at once, and do the damn thing. The question has to be, this is fantastic. Are people just going to realize this? You know, probably not right now, but like eventually, can we raise consciousness enough to where people will join on board once this kicks off, you know? Yeah,
I mean, I think a lot of people would listen to that idea and get very scared. I don't think the general public is there yet, you know?
Yeah, that's definitely true of our current condition.
I think we're just so atomized. We're just so out of touch with our own neighborhoods. We're out of, I mean, like,
yeah,
you know, if this kind of shit popped off right now, it'd be like, fuck, what do I do?
Right. And it's a challenge enough to get this going in one's own neighborhood, but then to unite that with the rest of your city, the rest of your town, wherever you are, right, to get that broad enough. Because there's, you know, still, like, I mean, in this song, they're talking about different parts of town, like, reacting differently, and obviously the reporter at the beginning saying, how is this happening? You know, this terrible part of town is doing this, that sort of thing.
But, I mean, it also references, like, spreading it to other cities, too. So
a couple other things I liked here is that this is a very early call out against Trump.
I love that. And DuPont, so great.
A great characterization of the notion of property as just being stolen anyway.
All of it.
Yep. So there you go. That's the coup.
Love it. What's next?
All right. So next we're moving forward 1 year to 1994. This one, actually, I was only going to mention the song on here just for time. This album's called Genocide and Juice.
Delicious.
Yeah. Instead of a gin and juice, you can get genocide and juice. And I wasn't going to really focus on any of the songs on here in terms of sampling them and talking about them, but I wanted to give a shout out to one of the songs here called Pimps, in parentheses, freestyling at the Fortune 500 Club.
Okay.
Because it's hilarious. So the idea is, it's sort of a reverse, sorry to bother you, where J.D. Rockefeller and John Paul Getty are like at this fancy party with everyone talking all fancy and everything, right? And then they add, they like have this thing where they've been working on rap in authentic voices. And then, you know, Boots Riley like raps as them. And they just like brag about how rich they are and how in charge of everything they are. And the final verse on this one has a Trump character doing that same thing, but he does his in like reggae.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Okay, definitely need to add that to my liked songs so I can listen later. That's great.
There's not a lot of like, you know, real communist content in there. It was just funny. So
okay, good to know.
So check it out if you want. Maybe I'll put it on the playlist.
Do it.
Okay. The next album that they released, though, was in 1998. It was called Steal This Album. The next song I wanted to play for us is called The Shipment.
If you're snitching to Columbo, we gon' drop you like a fumble. Now what you make is 0.1% of what the balls making. What the balls take is keeping us from living great. If this ain't straight, you think you wanna sit down and negotiate, you better have a crew to help you shut down this estate. Don't get frustrated, just combobulate. Don't stand and debate it, get a mob and take it till then it's food stamps, vouchers, building smelling couches, overturned garbage cans with no Oscar grouches, making money selling plastic. pouches. As Mystical would say, my flowers covered with pouches. Absolutely, positively can't do without it. The shipment is delivered. Come and get it if you got it. It ain't Indonesia, China wide. Go ahead, copy, 8 to line. Take my shit, we gon' have to ride. I'm always rolling dirty, so we acting right. It ain't Indonesia.
Dude, first off, I think this, this is where you see that this album is much more produced, or like, I don't know, he's developed, I think, or maybe it's just a style evolution, but.
I think so. I think it's moving out of that like early 90s style into something else. Holy shit. I mean, let's just talk about our favorite part, which is probably what I'm going to be sampling.
The last part there?
Yeah, that last verse. Incredible.
He's like, here, I've got you. Now, hey, just let's talk about communism real quick.
Now, what you make is 0.01% of what the boss makes. That's incredible. Like, he just explains it. Like, this guy's taking advantage of you. Like,
yeah.
And if you want to try to fix it, like, you can't just debate. Like, you have to take it.
If this ain't straight, you think you want to sit down and negotiate, you better have a crew to help you shut down his estate. Like it's
fuck yeah.
Like in some terms a union, or in some terms just the masses, right? Like you have to have mass popular force. Get a mob and take it.
Incredible. Real quick.
Yeah.
Lilliputians?
Lilliputians?
Yeah, what is that?
That's a Gulliver Travels references. They're like the small guys.
I'm like, I've heard of this, and I couldn't remember why. Okay.
Yeah, and basically he was saying like the cops are small fry if we have the masses together, if we're all together armed. And that's a big part of this, kind of the scary part of this is armed communities that can defend themselves.
Yeah, I love it. I loved particularly, like, I like the main hook for sure, like that harmonica sound, but I really loved that kind of like smooth bass that they moved to for some of the verses. I was like, ooh, that's sexy.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah, it's like funky.
Yeah, this is one of those times where I'm just like, like kind of mad that someone is so multi-talented. Like, okay, so you can like write and direct movies and also like you're really good at rapping. Like, okay, leave some talent for the rest of us.
We're resorting to shit posting.
Yeah, all I could do is badly podcast. And I don't care about sound quality because, I mean, fuck it.
Yeah, no, this is super dope. Also, shout out to the Palestinians in this one.
Yes, love that. I mean, I'm going to be adding all of this shit to my rotation. This is great.
Yeah, this is going to go on my Songs of the People playlist for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's also like good getting shit done music. Like, it's just got a good beat. I'm very into it.
Yeah, this one's driving for sure. The next one I have on my list is called 20,000 Gun Salute.
That's a lot of guns.
Disaster. The filthy rich bastards wanna milk your ass faster. Asper. No salvation coming from the damn pastor. Old ladies play canasta under roofs of crack plaster. Little kids dive in the trash for discarded Dutch masters. Dead partners on mirror walls. Homeless kids taking baths at the gas station urinal. Shit, the system can't cure it all. If everybody had a job, then stock value should have fall. 100 million neck slashes. So these bastards can make sure that they check cashes. Let's get massive wage struggle as direct classes. On just how we gonna overthrow they bitch asses. Give whiplashes from the force as we make it tight and ignite the flames of taking over daily life. Make it a right to have food, threads, and homestead. And back bail won't ever cut your phone dead. We own dead, but these businesses that love paying minimum wage ain't gonna let you take their shit unless you showing the gate. And if you do it by yourself, they gon' put you in a cage. You in a rage, please meet me on the same page with a 20,000 gun salute. Get rallied like you got a substitute. This life for new. Shut your mouth, don't pollute. Army of down, motherfucker, shit, we trying to recruit. 20,000 guns.
Extremely impressive. I'm not even going to know which verse to cut, so like we might have to play a lot of that.
That one also dope. Odd start with the Beavis and Butthead a little bit, but
sure,
but it
why
got
not?
going.
I mean, again, really doing a great job of laying out the essential problem and the only solution. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, your boss is taking advantage of you. People are going hungry, just like all the problems that are evident in society. And saying like, hey, we're abolitionists. Like, we're here to stop this shit.
Yeah. This all ties back to the same thing, right? Over in the carceral state, all these social ills, it all ties back to people aren't getting what they need because some people are robbing everyone else. Capitalism, right? And so he's like, and I love this part where he says, basically, they are not going to do anything if you don't force them to, and they're going to lock you up if you try to force them alone.
Yeah, I love that line. If you do it by yourself, you'll end up in a cage. Like that is a great point. Like it can't just be one person.
Yeah, you have to be part of a movement.
I'm just so impressed that a song can like literally say wage struggle as direct classes, and like talking about seizing ownership of the phone companies. Like that's impressive.
Yeah, to put this all in a lyrical way. Yeah, there's no other word for it. It's just badass.
Yeah, that's fucking cool.
The next one I have is a combo.
Okay.
And we'll listen through, I think, both of them. The first part's like a skit sort of thing, which they used to have in
I know about skits. I'm not that young.
Which is "Do My Thing," and then it'll lead into the song "Piss on Your Grave."
I hope it's Kissinger's.
Well,
yet.
he wasn't dead at the time. So
I know.
He's still not.
I'm so excited for that.
Maybe he will be by the
pissing.
time we release this.
One can only dream.
If you are dead by this point, Kissinger, then this part goes out to you. That'll be a hell of a thing to happen.
Let's just, fuck it. Let's take a gamble.
Speak it into existence.
Yeah. Manifest your dreams.
Right.
It's important to have dreams. All right, here we go.
While you was eating T-bone steaks in palatial estates or neighbor gates that automate so those you hate could only spectate, I was kissing my mate through iron grates while the guards wait. 50-cent rate for making license plates. My paper make his shake. Vibrate from 808 quakes, over breaks. Dug out a crate to sack from weight of the vinyl plates. Good work till they back ache and they breast can't lactate. You laughing to the bank, smiling, showing all your black plates. Contesting, 1, 2, 3. Never should have been put in the penitentiary. Boots from the Coup would like to say, I'll shove these food stamps down your throat just to block your airway, and that's the fair way, cause every day you're on the move. I mission military, killing millions till you're low on ammunition. Bodies beyond recognition, twisted complex position, and the kids working your factories and die malnutrition. See your net profit stats, hold some murderous facts. But if you listen to the news, you might have heard it was black. You got us hurting in shacks, I got the permanent tax. How about the one for when I bust my ass and you relax? I hit your head with an axe, play soccer with your brain. To make it official, slice your jugular vein. Still writing songs that my mama could sing. And if you feel some yellow drips on your skull, it ain't rain. On the front of a bug, never gave a fuck. He forces black women slaves to give him dick sucks. And when he bust a nut, he laugh and cackle. Let the leather whip crackles in the back to pick tobacco. Shekel wouldn't give him meals, so his homies stack bills. Fought on flatlands and hills to keep the British up the kill. Skrill kept Washington dumping them in ditches, so slave owners son of a bitches could keep their riches. Which is how the war got funded with 2 centuries of Jews. A black slave bodies and the profits they produce. You could deduce that these men might win, fit right in and make rights then, just for rich white men. So they quit fighting and wrote up a declaration, protect the declaration for their business operations. A guerrilla pippin' nation, no freedom, just savage. The whole world's ravaged from they hunger for the cabbage. Your 5th period history teachers telling lies like a tweaker. Bump this song through the speaker. Once they face get weaker, let's say righteous and they kicking the facts. They gon' smile cause this shit is on wax. One thing I got to ask, George Washington down in hell, can you see me? I'm standing on your grave and I'm fist to take a piece.
Amazing. I mean, we should blast this at every asshole funeral for sure. It's so good.
Yeah, man. Since we're not going to play the whole thing,
Yeah.
this is preceded by the "Do My Thing" part. Is they're like, they've snuck into a movie, they get kicked out, they're really hungry, they're looking for something to eat, and they go to this church because there's a lot of people there, but it's a funeral, and then they're like, oh yeah, this is this rich asshole guy, and so they sneak in pretending to be the organist and the guy carrying the organist, all so that Boots Riley can get in there and take a piss.
It's amazing. It's so good. Oh, okay. This one might be my favorite.
I like in the first verse when he's talking about the military, all these, and this is when we mentioned Kissinger earlier, this reminiscent of that.
For sure.
All this carnage that you wrought around the world, or if you're a titan of industry, you're funding that for one, but
For
you're
sure.
also, that's all there to defend the empire that makes you rich, so that kids can work in your factories and die of malnutrition.
I love the section about the founding fathers and just like, hey, fuck these guys. They're all slave owners and rapists and just profiting off of black bodies. And like the lies we're all told in history class, except for this one.
Yeah, that whole section. I actually put that in my notes. The entire second verse.
It's amazing.
Very good. That is all 100% true. And honestly, it's actually hard as a history teacher to get a little bit of that in, just because you can't really come out too hard on it. But like, there's acceptable points. You can now. When I was a kid, you couldn't. You had to kind of obliquely. Teachers would say, well, there's, some people say, but it's not really proven. And most people don't believe that, like, Jefferson had children with his slaves, and now you can be like,
no, he
did
definitely
that.
did.
And they were this old, and, you can do that whole thing. Jackson used to get a more heroic treatment, like when we were coming up.
Yeah.
And now it's pretty much okay to just be like,
Yeah,
okay,
he did a
here's what
genocide.
he did, yeah, and everyone will be like, wow, that's really bad, So at least that's changing a little bit, but
Yeah, low bar, but sure. I particularly like the last verse as well. I love the phrasing of like, you're not in the budget. It costs too much to let your rich ass inhale. I fucking love that.
yeah, don't let fascists breathe our new freedom air. That's from a Woody Guthrie song back in the day. The Battle of Jarama is what that's called, after the Spanish Civil War battle at Jarama.
Of course.
But it's like a redone song from the old folk song Red River Valley. Anyway, just want to make me think of is like, yeah, you know what? We want to build this world for everyone, but not for like the fascists, not for like these assholes.
Yeah. I mean, it makes logical sense of like, hey, we have these people who are taking up all of the resources and we should just get rid of them.
Yep.
Yeah, very good.
All right. Next one is called Swervin'.
Now the FBI monitor with no feedback. See me on the street, ask me where the weed at. Or the coke I don't sell, they yell, I don't believe that. Set me up, I'm running, breathing like a sleep stack. Ran into a car and almost bent my knee back. Better than the cell where my lawyer's fee stack. Ran into a liquor store, they asked what you do. Wearing FUBU, what was my man who do? Do the back, don't come through. I said mercy, boo too. If they ask you was I running, tell them bastards I flew. Made it to the hood, plans to catch a few flicks. Police did a raid, terrorizing cruise ship. Busting those beating mamas while they making cool whip. Face down, getting dirt on my back to school fit. My neighbor next to me got black and blue lips. When the fuse lit, you gon' see the view flip. Kick our boot up, they ask them if the shoe fit. Till then, they wanna see us pushing up 2 lips. First my nut so much shit, I think I'm sterile. Got up, brushed the gravel off my apparel. This girl Cheryl got parole violation. Said she was high cause of pupil dilation. If you never been to jail now since Affinity, you get searched living in this vicinity. Or harassed, beat the shit, I mean the living daylights. Wouldn't be no dope slanging if McDonald's pay right. The ruling class ships dope to you and me. And don't get arrested, is this lunacy? Or is it diplomatic immunity? Is it a war on drugs or just my community? Now who gets paper and who gets purred? Who gets slapped and who gets served? This type of shit get on my last nerve. I think about it in the car and I start to swerve. Who gets paper and who gets purred? Who gets slapped and who gets served? This type of
Wow.
shit get on my
Wow. Again, gonna be hard to pick just one verse there.
Yeah.
Ooh. I mean, a great example of police brutality and harassment. I think my favorite line from that is it a war on drugs or just my community?
Yeah. This notion of, I mean, he's just being materialist about this, right? And saying like, well, why are people dealing drugs? Why do we have this whole thing going on? It's not because people have these inherent natures or they're just, vice-filled creatures or anything like that. Like, it's because, there would be no dope slinging if McDonald's paid right. And who gets arrested for this, even though it's the ruling class and at times, like, literally the CIA bringing in drugs to this country?
Yeah. I mean, I just started reading End of Policing. I got my Dallas Library card.
Nice.
And yeah, so now I'm on like their little online app thing, like Libby or whatever. Very easy. Recommend.
Shout out to your local library.
So yeah, this is a great pairing for that.
Yeah. I don't know, that's to me this whole thing. And then later when he talks about employment was going to be found one way or the other, right? So it's like
Yeah. The factory.
Yeah, like basically using prisons as slave labor to get things produced super cheaply, calling it cleaning up the streets, but really just finding a new way to exploit people or to hyper exploit people.
Yeah, definitely packing them in to make microchips for $2 a week. Like,
actually happens. Yeah.
Yep, we got slave labor, guys.
All right, that concludes our album. Steal This Album. All right, our next one, the album is called Party Music. This is the one with the infamous cover.
Great.
The new cover is just like a guy holding a flaming martini glass. A lot less cool.
Oh, okay.
There's a song on there that I wanted to mention. It's funny. You should listen to it, but it doesn't have like a lot for us to feast on, so much as just being funny. It's called 5 Million Ways to Kill a CEO.
Yeah, that's the one I'm hovering over for sure.
Which just kind of goes over different ways to kill people, basically. It's funny. I mean, we can listen
That's
to it.
great.
I don't know if there's a lot to talk about on it, though.
That's okay. I'll listen to it later. I'm excited.
Okay. The next one I wanted to listen to is called Wear Clean Draws.
Okay.
You know you my cookie baby and you're too smart. I could read it in the lines of your school art. True heart, I mean courage, expressed with care. Go on, draw them superheroes with the curly hair. You my daughter, my love, more than kin to me. This for you and the woman that you finna be. Tell that boy he's wrong, girls are strong. Next time at show and tell, play a Mars song. Tell your teacher I said princesses are evil. How they got all their money was they kill people. If somebody hit you, hit them back. Then negotiate a peace contract. Life is a challenge and you gotta team up. If you play house, pretend that the man clean up. You too busy with the other things you gotta do. When you start something now, remember follow through. Later on, you gon' blossom like a lotus. You'll get in the boys and the boys gon' notice. It don't matter who you do it with. Just remember when I tell you, baby, you the shit. Handshakes are promises, lies can spoil it. Words should be bond and sealed. Wash your hands after using the toilet. Brush after every meal. And also
Wear clean clothes every day. Things may fall the wrong way.
be ready.
You be lying there, wait for the ambulance. Your underwear got holes and shit. Wear clean clothes every day. Things may fall the wrong way. You be lying there, wait for the ambulance.
That's right.
Your underwear got holes and shit.
Man, can I get a little scratch right here? Man, can I get a little scratch right there? Man, can I get a little scratch right here? Man, can I get a little scratch right there? My boogie baby, now the world ain't no fairy tale. And it's ran by some rich white scary males. To make it simple for you, let's call them the bosses. They take money while the people take losses. Stole black folks from Africa to work for free. And we still barely get paid enough to eat. That's what I told you I be saying in my vocals. That's why the woman got the gun on the logo. The star is the future that we gon' create, where nobody steal money from the things we make. The revolution take time and space, but you as a woman gotta know your place. That's in the front, baby. I'm being blunt, baby. If they get mad, say it's their time of the month, baby. Your face is just like the sun when it raises. Thank you for adding beauty to my phrases. Handshakes are promises, lies can spoil it. Words should be
That's so
bonded.
good. I love this. I love how it starts off as this like very sweet tribute to like a baby girl. Like, here's what you need to know about the world.
Mm-hmm.
It turns into wear clean underwear in case you die. And also, I'm going to teach you about the revolution while you're here.
Yeah, fuck the patriarchy. Be a full part of the revolution. I didn't know about their logo. I hadn't seen this in the things I had looked at before for some reason. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't really paid attention to it.
All right, let me copy it. Let me put it in the chat. This is the logo he was describing.
Oh, yeah, it is a lady with a gun.
Yeah.
That's right.
So, this is in 2001, really. You see, it's got a gender binary to it, but I do like its feminist message.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it's really, it's nice that he's addressing that. And I mean, even the logo thing, like, we didn't notice it until then. Like, that's cool. And just specifically talking to women in the community and saying, like, hey, like, you definitely have a place here. Don't let people tell you don't. Right,
yeah. If they try to get you, like, fuck them, like.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's I love that. And always good advice. Wear clean drawers.
Okay, can do.
In case you die.
I gotta throw out my ones with the holes in them.
You don't want to be laying there waiting for the ambulance. All right, the next song we've got on the list is from this album called Ride the Fence.
I'm anti-theory, anti-trust, anti-gun if the shit won't bust, anti-corporate date, anti-my essence, anti-snorting them, anti-depressants, but I'm not pro-popping. I'm provocative and pro-stopping them FBI operatives who professional the black man pounds and hand you a sentence that you can't pronounce. I'm also anti-narco, anti-vice, 911 wants the anti-Christ, they anti-social point M16, cause I'm anti the anti-nigga machine, proletarian, funkadelic, parliamentarian, pro-revolt, in the 21st century, pro-running up in Congress saying fuck it all, but bring the people with you, that's the protocol. It's pretty dreadful like jailbreaks. The whole world is anti-United States. So check it out, anticipate the antivenom and move your antibody to this revolution rhythm. We gon' be fucking with them pro-union, but most laws they bite. Anti-motherfuckers crossing the strike. Take a look around and be for or against, but you can't do shit if you riding the fence. Ride the fence. Now you don't really wanna ride the fence. Now do you really wanna ride the fence? Or would you really wanna ride the fence? Don't ride the fence. Ride the fence. Now you don't really wanna ride the fence. Now would you really wanna ride the fence? Or would you really wanna ride the fence? Don't ride the fence. I'm anti-up in your dollars with telekinesis. I done tried every day and that shit decreases. Anti the anti-crime bill pieces. We need cash and that's the anti-thesis. I'm pro-overthrow of the hip-hop nation. Pro-laying low till I'm on probation. Pro-people control of the cash and corporations. Pro-prophylactic yet procreation. Anti-watered down drinks in fancy cups. Anti-promoters who don't anti-up, but I'm not anti-club. I know that power is the most effective anti-drug. I'm pro-Zapatista, pro-Cuba, Viva. Polarizer saying fuck La Migra. Policia say asesina. Let me show you what I mean. I'm anti-Republican and Democratic. If they self-destruct, that's anticlimactic. Tired of being honey like an antelope. Take the system by the throat, that's the antidote. So I pose a proposition. Take a look, be in support of opposition. To be proactive, proceed with confidence. Cause you know that you can't change shit by riding the fence. Ride the fence. Now you don't really wanna.
Another banger, guys.
Yeah, he's got a big list of things he's anti and things he's pro.
I love it. I love it. I mean, anti-imperial is the first one. That's a great start.
Yeah, that's something you should lead off the gate. Like, that should be number one in your Tinder profile. I'm an anti-imperialist.
Anti-imperialist. For sure. Would swipe whatever the correct direction is on that. I think it's right. I didn't do the apps, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're too old to begin the training.
I love that there's a Cuba shout out with some Spanish in there. That was so awesome.
Just pro Cuba. Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah. And I just like the general message of like riding the fence. Like, you don't want to be like, you have to pick a side. Whose side are you fucking on? Like, classic shit.
Exactly. I like how he said, the whole world is anti-United snakes.
That was interesting.
That's a good one. If you ever want
I
to
like
piss off
it.
conservative relatives, you can call it the United Snakes. See what they say.
Yeah, that was fucking good.
Yeah, totally. If you need, a list of things to be for or against, there you go. That's it. Ride the fence.
Pretty good platform right there.
Yeah, like this is what we should be about.
Yeah, into it. Although I do like my antidepressants. I would like to keep those.
So, but I did say snorting them, which
I don't think you should snort them. I'm not a doctor, but
yeah, that's why I was like, I guess he's not being anti-mental health there. You're probably not supposed to do that.
probably not. It can't be effective.
The next one I got is called Heaven Tonight.
Wanna save my soul. Nobody wanna save my life. We done lost control. Let's make heaven tonight.
Now as I sleep, made of oxygen inflate my lungs. Made my arteries and heart oscillate as one. If police come, may I awake, escape, and run. In the morning, may I have the sake to scrape the funds. And if I take the plunge, may it be said that I wasn't afraid to shake my tongue. Show the state was gone, making sure that the calling bell of fate was wrong. Cause if they could, they wouldn't probably try to rape the sun. Someone said that this is just my body. Wait for the after party. Well, ain't no shut off note in air while it there's naughty feet on the asphalt, dick in the dirt. This system take Vic in the work. Listen alert, check out the introvert in the corner with the rip in her skirt. Stomach pain, so she gripping her shirt. Ain't never had dinner, so she knows she ain't getting dessert. Don't try to tell me it's her mission to hurt. I got faith in the people and they power to fight. We gon' make the struggle blossom like a flower to light. I know that we could take power tonight, make them cower for might, and get emergency clearance from the tower for flight. I ain't sitting in your pews unless you helping me resist and review. Show me a list of your views if you really love me. Help me tear this motherfucker up. Consider this my time for the offer cup.
Preacher man wanna save my soul. Don't nobody wanna save my life. People, we done lost control. Let's make heaven tonight. Preacher man wanna save my soul. Don't nobody wanna save my life. People, we done lost control. Let's make heaven tonight.
I used to think about infinity and how my memory is finna be invisibly slim in that vicinity. And though the stars are magnificent, whiskey in the midnight sky can make you feel insignificant. The revolution in this tune and verse is a bid for my love to touch the universe. Struggling over wages and funds, let the movement get contagious and run through the end when it's cages and guns. And if we win in the ages to come, we'll have a chapter where the history pages are from. They won't never know our name or face, but feel our soul and free food they taste. Feel our passion when they heat they house, when they got power on the street and the police don't beat them about. Let's make healthcare centers on every block. Let's give everybody homes and a garden plot. Let's give all the schools books, 10 kids in class, and give them truth for their pencils and pads. Retail clerk love ballads where you place this song. Let's make heaven right here just in case they wrong.
Preacher man wanna save my soul.
Wow.
Nobody wanna save my
I love this one. I mean, you know me, I'm not the biggest religious head. Not my area of expertise. But I mean, I think this does a good job of showing the potential issue you can get when religion is used as a, hey, I know you're suffering right now, but like, it's gonna be cool later.
Yeah. The old version of this song was called The Preacher and the Slave.
Oh, yeah.
This is the song that's like, you'll get pie in the sky when you die.
Yeah. I mean, that was a significant way that Christianity was packaged to slaves.
It's exactly the same message. It's people tell you, hey, wait till the afterlife, wait till, then your suffering will be repaid. And yeah, it will, but why not? Like he says in the last line there, just in case they're wrong, let's make heaven right here.
I love that. And I love the details about, what would happen if we win. Like, we're not going to be famous, but like, we'll have power and heat and healthcare and education, like all in a garden and small class sizes. Like it's insane to have to dream about those things, but that's where we're at.
Yeah. That's what the world we're fighting to build.
Yeah.
You don't get any closer by hoping, or by saying, well, but my suffering is just. Like, the goal is to end your suffering. Like, and to do that, you're going to have to take action, is basically what he's saying.
Yeah. I really like this one. And it's also very pretty.
Yeah. That's the last one from Party Music. Moving on, we have one song from the album Pick a Bigger Weapon from 2006.
Oh, I read that as pick a bigger woman. And I was like,
Well,
cool.
well, you can do that too.
You can do both.
And the song that I wanted to play here is called Ass Breath Killers. And it's funny, but it's also cool and good.
It's a long album. Jesus. This is when they used to make albums like long.
Yeah.
Now you have like 8 songs on an album. I know I sound like an old person. Deal with it.
Some confuse ass breath with strong halitosis. It's been hundreds of years since the first diagnosis by the African doctor Mwangi Masoy, known in the States as Mr. Thomas's boy. He found that preventing this affliction was lost with the mention of the phrase, yes, I boss. When that phrase was uttered, many stomachs would wrench. Some jumped in the Atlantic to escape the stench. He noted ass breath came from kissing ass a lot. To be the boss's night normal like Lancelot. Dr. Masoy years later, before he was hanged, developed pills with the taste of lemon meringue, made from ground gunpowder of Haitian slaves and sweat from Seminoles who just wouldn't behave. He tested first on young Nat from the turnip plantation, then sent a batch off to the French-speaking nation. It should also be noted a bottle of it was found in the clenched dead hand of the white John Brown. Every time it went round, new people refined it. They would take their essence, put it in and grind it. In Russia, Africa, Asia too. Mao Zedong make the flavors new. In Cuba, the people make new shipments of this pill that is on the FDA shit list. They say it's not recommended to take before dinner with supervisors, presidents, or such type sinners. Take this pill and say what you wish you said. It hardens backbones. They might wish you dead. And it's not to be confused with courage juice, which we drank in chains and we still ain't loose. These pills really should be taken in groups, cause ass breath motherfuckers move with truth. MLK took half a pill, procrastinated. Once he took a whole pill, they assassinated. Take ass breath killers to really get down wherever rocks, fire, and struggle are found.
When it's time to speak up and you can't make a sound.
That old outro there, the last little bit, they like take it and it kicks in.
I see.
And some supervisor kind of comes over and is like, hey, what are you guys supposed to be doing? And he says, I'm supposed to be dragging my foot out your motherfucking ass.
That's so good. Okay, I love this metaphor. I think it's really funny.
Yeah.
But also really good. Like, the concept is you take a pill that gets rid of your ass breath. Ass breath coming from, kissing asses.
Kissing ass, yeah.
So good. So just talking about how, like, yeah, some people are going to fucking suck up to these assholes and be on their side. Defend them like Lancelot. I thought that was good. And yeah, I love this. I love all the references.
Yeah, how history's full of examples of people who did not, go along with this. And it's so easy in our day and age to be like, oh, well, when that was the time. Or, oh, they hadn't figured it out yet. Lots of people had.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, John Brown gets a shout out here. Love that guy. Again, Cuba, Mao, like, saying that, like, yeah, like you said, like, this is it's not a one-time crazy idea.
Right, yeah, this has been going on since, so long ago. He mentions the Seminoles that fought the Seminole War, to basically the other tribes in the region had been kicked out already, had agreed to follow the treaty and move out, and they fought back and were like, no. They nearly get wiped out, but their survivors did actually like carve out an area of Florida that like stayed theirs for a long time. Haiti, obviously.
Yeah.
The Nat Turner Rebellion. So yeah, all these different instances of people. I like the Martin Luther King bit.
Yeah, he took half a pill, and then when he took the whole one, they killed him. Very true.
Once he started organizing in terms of anti-war, in terms of labor unions.
That was not going to work for them.
Leading a sanitation strike. That's when they killed him.
Yep. Not a fucking coincidence.
So yeah, there we go. That one's Ass Breath Killers.
Very good.
All right. Next up is we're moving to the next album called Sorry to Bother You. But it's not like the soundtrack one.
Yeah, they have 2, right?
Yeah, so this one's from before the movie was a thing. Mm-hmm. This is what he was initially kind of working with. Like, he was doing, he couldn't really make a film at the time.
Yeah, it took him a long time to get it going.
Yeah, so he was kind of like playing around with an album. The song I wanted to play on this one first is Strange Arithmetic.
strange arithmetic. Using swords, prison bars, and pistol grips. English is the art of bombing towns while assuring that you really only bless the ground. Science is the honorable, beautiful study where you contort the molecules and then you make that money. In mathematics, dead children don't get at it, but they count the cost of bullets coming out the automatic. And I'm teaching my hands up. Please don't make me a bitch. Teach, stand up. You need to tell us how to flip this system. Teach, my hands up. Please don't make me a victim. Teach, stand up. You need to tell us how to flip this system. God. Economics is a symphony of hunger and theft. Mortar shells often echo out the cashing of checks. In geography classes, borders, mountains, and rivers, but they will never show the line between the takers and givers. Algebra is that unique occasion in which a school can say that there should be a balanced equation. And then statistics is the two little complicitous that everybody's with it, and you're the only critic, and I'm teaching. My hands up. Please don't make me a victim. Teach, stand up. Tell us how to flip this system. Teach, my hands up. Please don't make me a victim. Teach, stand up. Tell us how to flip this system. Move. Social studies is the Goliath tackle, which turns into a sermon on simplicity of shackles. Physics is the school you on the science course, except for how to get the fuck out the ghetto, of course. Home ec could teach you how to make a few sauces and accept low pay from your Walmart bosses. If your school won't teach you how to fight for what's needed, they're teaching you to go through life and get cheated, and I'm teaching.
Wow. I mean, this one's great. It's really just taken to task the education system and how it is rooted in upholding the current power structure.
Yeah, it's capitalist. I mean,
yeah,
it is one of the few, social goods that we provide publicly still. But since it's run through the state, it definitely shows that in a lot of the things that it does. And that's what he's calling out,
Yeah. I mean, my favorite line is, economics is the symphony of hunger and theft. That's beautiful.
And it's really accurate because, economics has this cold way of being like, well, this is supply and this is demand and this is your natural rate of unemployment. And it's like when you're talking about unemployment, that's what you're talking about. Hunger. When you're talking about profits and GDP, that's what you're talking about is theft. Yeah.
We have a system that is set up to fail a certain amount of people.
Yeah. His last line of the third verse there, if your school won't teach you how to fight for what's needed, they're teaching you to go through life and get cheated.
I mean, yeah.
It's like, a lot of it is it's not just like letting things happen, but school is kind of also one of its hidden messages. It's not like a subliminal thing or anything. It's just like part of the whole structure is how to comply and how to
obey, how to work within a system,
and hopefully how to believe in that system.
Definitely.
Have some sort of buy-in and think that you are on the same side as, the people in charge.
Yeah, there's definitely some, it's probably not as, like you said, not as forced these days, but there's definitely a big sprinkle of patriotism sprinkled in there.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so Strange Arithmetic.
It's really good. Got a really great beat, too.
Yeah, and I like how it kind of felt punky.
Yeah.
Next, we're going to listen to The Guillotine.
I'm interested.
All right.
Let's do it.
Let's check it out.
We want to thank you for flying with us. We know you could've stayed home, just cried and cussed. Mail your guns go off if it's time to bust. Mail they tanks have time to rust. They got the armies turning bullets into gold. They got the hookers turning tricks into cold. And every time the police kicks in the door, an angel gas breaks dips in the O. And even if a D-boy flips in my O, it ain't enough to buy shit anymore. Sleep in the doorway, piss on the floor. Look in the sky, wait for missiles to show. It's finna blow, cause they got the TV, we got the truth. They own the judges and we got the proof. We got hella people, they got helicopters. They got the bombs and we got the guillotine.
We got the guillotine, you better run. We got the guillotine. We got the guillotine, you better run. We got the guillotine. We got the guillotine, you better run. We got the guillotine. We got the guillotine, you better run. Talk about it, I show. Read about it, I know. Talk about it, I show. Read about it, I know.
I just spit the dope lines, I don't snort them. Tell the boss to call police to escort them. You don't ride out them lies, you just quote them. Get offline, plug into this modem. No, you can't outvote them, the rules are still golden. On the jewels we holdin' if we guardin' our scrotum. If you press your ear to the turf that is stolen, you can hear the sound of limitations exploding. Please, sir, may we have another portion? We're children of the beast that dodge the abortion. Neck placed firm between the floor and the portion. When shut your shit down, don't call it extortion. Caution, we're coming for your head. So call the feds and get files to shred. Every textbook read said bring you the bread. But guess what, we got you instead.
We got the guillotine. We got the guillotine. You better run. We got the guillotine. We got the guillotine.
It's dope. It's exciting to think about. It's like the revolutionary moment, you know, and it doesn't shy away. I mean, it's called the guillotine, and it's just singing about that. But
Yeah.
it's like not just a glorification of violence. Like it's the guillotine being this symbol of like, you know, the masses taking power.
Yes.
I think is what's lost on people. People see it as like, oh, you just like blood and stuff, and it's like this is an equal like cutting the head off of the system and cutting the heads off the people in charge of that.
Yeah. I mean, I think the lines about they have helicopters, but we have hella people. Like we have the numbers, and like you may have all this advanced stuff, but like using the guillotine as a symbol of mass action.
Yeah, because like it itself is not a powerful weapon.
It's just a big ass knife.
Yeah, if you have a ton of people to drag somebody to it, you know.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
that's where its threat comes from is the people itself. I like the bridge line that is, don't talk about it, it's not a show.
Yes.
Be about it, it's about to blow.
Yeah, that was good.
Called us out.
Yeah, for real. Sorry, dude.
I just talk about it. But I'll be there when it's about to blow.
Yeah, we'll show up.
So I thought this one is just an exciting like moment of the revolution song, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you're tired of working so they can play a common enemy, we got one. All right, last one that I want to play for us is called Long Island Iced Tea Neat, which sounds real chill.
It does sound chill. Let's see.
I mean, with the neat sounds kind of weird, but
I have a Long Island iced tea neat or whatever kind of pudding got me back in my seat. Cause a little earlier we was out in that street. The police tried to smash and they felt defeat. You know they got no idea what they done unleashed. Keep my card open but it's done deceit. Them thieves wanna talk when they cash they creep. Here's a toast to the folks who let action speak. I have a Long Island iced tea straight, but the way my heart thumping, I already levitate. Cause a little earlier we made the whole earthquake when we shut that shit down and had the ball irate. We are only a fetus, we are modeling the shape. We gon' make a masterpiece out of all the mistakes. But man, I'm too damn drunk to continue this debate. Cause I can't articulate and I need to urinate. Give me one Long Island with one ice cube. Cause as far as rap go, he the motherfucking dude. Let the record reflect that today we lit a fuse. If I take one more shot, I'm dancing on the bar new. Hey, you talking in my ear with like hella amplitude. Every little fight could build up on a big feud. Today we struck a blow for all us in servitude. But the thousands of people got me drunker than the booze.
Yeah, I do like the progression of their sound. I mean, don't get me wrong, I fucking love early 90s rap. It's amazing. But I mean, it's interesting that they're like incorporating more guitars and stuff. Like, yeah, it's very different, but it's really good.
Yeah. And so this is a song you got to save for once shit's actually happening. And you're kicking back after a long day of revolutionary activity.
After the guillotine, we all have Long Island. Sounds great.
Yeah.
I'm there.
I love the imagery, he's like recalling like how awesome it was to go out there and beat the police, shutting their workplace down and their boss's impotence in that.
Fuck yeah.
In that moment. The last line too. The thousands of people got me drunker than the booze, like the revolutionary like spirit there, lifting you up.
I love that. And I think that's a consistent theme in his work, as he talks a lot about like drugs and alcohol and religion and all these things being used to soothe suffering people and turning away from those things, not like in a,
like a Puritan sense.
Yeah, in a Puritan and like a shame on you kind of way, but in a like, hey, like if we address the system, we wouldn't need all those things to keep us mollified.
Right. There's a more fulfilling way to get those feelings.
Yeah.
That's the last one I have for you. The soundtrack, the Sorry to Bother You soundtrack from 2018, doesn't really, to me, in my opinion, doesn't really cover new ground in terms of our purposes here. So I don't really see anything that we really need to get into. It was more like focused on providing a good soundtrack for the movie. But the movie was doing the talking in that. So it wasn't,
Wasn't center stage.
Yeah.
Well, cool. That was awesome. I'm definitely going to start listening to this. I'll probably throw it on this week just as I'm doing more research for other things. So yeah, that'll be great.
Excellent.
It's just refreshing to hear music address this, and again, we're so starved for that content here in the States that it's like, wow, you said it out loud, you didn't have to be coy about it.
Right. Yeah, there's so many things that's like, oh, he's kind of hinting that like war is bad. Okay.
Or like, oh, you supported Bernie Sanders. Like, okay, low bar.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting to like hear an explicitly communist artist say explicitly communist things. Like, it's cool. And like, even if Boots thought later that was too on the nose, I mean, I loved it. I keep it on the nose. It's where it belongs. It's a good nose.
Yeah, I'm of that mind too. I agree with you though. I like the evolution of their sound to kind of keep up with things.
Got a little punkier.
Yeah, and just kind of changing things up, and even within, because we're pulling selections here, but there's a lot of different directions that we, and we kind of saw that as some of them were like smoother, kind of like an R&B selection. Some of them were more just traditional rap sort of thing. Some of them had a lot of brass going in so they're versatile, which I like. Yeah.
I mean, incredibly talented on a musical level, on a lyrical level. And even like the other members, I think, are super talented. Like E-Rock was great. Pam, oh my God, I love Pam. Great name.
Yeah.
Great record scratches. Good job.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, I stand Pam. What are we doing next week?
Next week, we're going to be talking about a form of agriculture developed in Cuba. It still goes on in Cuba. And we'll kind of get into the details of kind of how it was set up and what it looked like over time and what it looks like now, and kind of how that spread. It's something called organoponicos.
Organoponicos. Okay, great. I am looking forward to it.
Me too.
Okay.
Should be good.
Yay. All right. Talk to you then.
All right. See you.
Bye. Hey there, comrades. Just jumping in to remind you of all of our social media. We are on Twitter at teachcommunism, Instagram at teachmecommunism. You can shoot us an email. That's teachmecommunism@gmail.com. Any of those places are good to send us an episode suggestion or a question, anything you think would be useful feedback for us, or just your admiration. If you want to admire us in a public manner, and you should, you can go to Apple Podcasts to give us a review. It is the best way to help people find the show. Love when people write and review us. Please do both. We are also on YouTube, if that's how you prefer to listen to podcasts, or if you know someone that's the only way they'll listen to podcasts, send them to our page. And we have a Patreon. For $5 a month, you get access to our notes for each week's episode, including the backlog of notes, which is a very handy resource for up-and-coming commies. And at the end of the year, all of the funds from Patreon will be given to local mutual aid in the DFW area. So, ain't going to line our pockets. Finally, we have merch. Check us out at TeePublic. You can find shirts and I believe also stickers and magnets and all kinds of fun stuff with catchphrases from the show or episode art, stuff like that. The link to that store is in the show notes, so check that out. Okay, that's all the internet. Join us next time for another episode of Teach Me Communism, where the class struggle is always in session. Bye, y'all.